So I'm making a game in Godot. It's basically a mixture of Rust, Kenshi, Civilization, and Minecraft, all combined into a low-poly, multiplayer, open-world, survival, real-time strategy game. I wanted to add procedural terrain generation to the game, which games like Minecraft and Rust use, because the world was looking kind of flat. The cool thing about procedural terrain is, 1, it's less effort for me, and 2, it means every time you play, there's a completely different map, which makes a game way more replayable. So first I added Perlin noise. It's basically a bunch of random values, but it transitions smoothly from one value to another, like waves. So instead of sharp, random static, it's way smoother, which is perfect for a somewhat natural looking terrain. The terrain was looking a bit too smooth for a low poly game. See, light was blended smoothly across the surface as it was using smooth shading. So I changed it to have flat shading. So now each face has its own solid color without any blending between different faces, which gives it that sharp low poly look. The world's meant to be an island, so we can't have this straight flat edge on the terrain. So I added this thing called a fall off map. It basically smoothly lowers the terrain the closer it is to the edge of the world. So now you can see the terrain fades out nicely instead of coming to an abrupt edge. As far as I know, beaches aren't green. So I made the terrain have a sand color up to a certain height. The issue now is the terrain's a bit too bumpy. Base building is going to be a big feature in the game, so I want actual flat surfaces where players can make their base. So I put the noise of the terrain through this curve, so now certain noise values will be completely flat. The mountains weren't steep enough, so I cranked them up even more by just multiplying their height. Now we have these steep mountains with flat tops and flat land down below them, which is perfect for building a base on once that's actually a feature in the game. I needed to add some color to the mountains. So first I just applied a stone color to any terrain that's above a certain height, but it really didn't look right. So instead, I'm only applying the stone color based on the steepness of the surface rather than its height. So any terrain that's angled really steep will get a stone color regardless of its height. That looks way better. And any really high mountaintops will get covered in snow. So now I have this nice looking terrain, but it's kind of empty looking. The first thing you do in a game like Minecraft or Rust is gather wood from trees, and there are no trees. So first I made the trees spawn randomly all over the island, and it just doesn't look right whatsoever. So instead I applied Perlin noise to the tree placement as well. Now they're placed in these sort of forests all over the island instead of completely random positions, and it looks way better. Next I added stone and ore spawning. The size is set based on its health, so it's really big if it has a lot of health and it's small if it doesn't have much health, which will correlate to how long it takes to break it. Currently ore is being placed just randomly all over the island, but I plan to only spawn certain ore at certain heights or steepness, so you have to venture higher up into the mountains to find rarer ore. So now, whenever you join a server, you'll spawn somewhere randomly on the beach around the island, and there's this cool little animation sequence of a raft crashing at that position whenever you join. You start with these 2 castaways, which you can control by clicking or dragging to select them, and then you can click wherever you want them to walk to, or you can click, for example, a tree or an enemy player for them to walk towards it and attack it. I didn't want steep cliffs to be walkable, as I want them to make the world more difficult to traverse from one side to another, so you can't just go in a straight line from one side of the map to the other. So I had to add pathfinding. So whenever you want your units to attack something that's at the other side of a cliff, instead of just walking straight into the cliff and getting stuck, they'll actually find their way around it. So I'm using this algorithm called A star, which basically breaks the world into a grid. The blue squares are ones you can walk on, and the red squares are ones you can't. Then it finds the shortest route from point A to point B on the grid. Whenever your units do things like attack things or gather resources, you gain XP. You can use that XP to upgrade their stats. Currently it's really unbalanced because you can easily make them go super speed. You can also change their class. I only have a few classes right now, but I plan to add a lot more. So for example, there's an archer class where they can do ranged attacks. That's kind of everything I've added so far. I have a lot more ideas to add in the future. It's going to take a lot of time. So let me know in the comments if you have any ideas or suggestions. See ya.